Welcome to Italy. We are in the Dolomites, specifically Cortina. We've been in Rome, Florence, and Venice for the past week for a buddy's wedding that I was in. The rest of this trip for the next week is going to be hiking, mountain biking, exploring all of these amazing sites. We are doing about an 8-mile loop, 2,500 feet of elevation gain. I think it goes to either 2 or 3 different refugios. I'm probably butchering that word, but basically little huts that hikers, mountaineers can sleep in overnight, and some of them have like bars and restaurants too. But they're perched up on a cliff. You probably can't see it, but up on that cliff up there, there's a white box. That's a refugio that's perched up on a cliff. So hopefully we'll be able to grab some food and drinks at 1 or 2 of those. But for now, let's get this hiking underway. We are at our first stop for the day. 0.83 miles in. First mile and a half of this hike is straight uphill. Nice little alpine lake. I stopped to look, see where we're going. 37 minutes in, 1.2 miles, 815 feet of elevation gain. I think we're headed all the way up to the top there. Not the top peak right there, but this plateau. Doesn't look like much on camera, but that's at least another 1,000 feet. So I started this hike early for a couple of reasons. One, to beat the heat and humidity. 2, I don't have sunscreen. There's some at the hotel this morning, but they wanted, I think it was €25 for a tiny little bottle, which is like $30. No. So I'm trying to also beat the UV index, which climbs drastically at about 10 a.m. up to, I think, 9, and the highest it can get is 10. So I've got my sunshade clothing with me, so I'll put that on about 10. But yeah, I'll be able to beat most of it. This should take about 4 hours, I think. Taking a little break. We're about 1.5 miles in. Found some shade. Pulled up the maps. I'll put the link to this trail. It's on all trails. I'll put it in the description. We're about halfway, a little over halfway through the steepest part of this trail. But check out this view that we have from our little rest spot. I mean, it's just incredible. These peaks, how they just jut out of the ground. You can see over here all the different layers. But I think we're about ready to finish up our little break and get to climbing again. So we finally hit a little flat spot. About to go up and over this ridge. And we won't see that again until we are rounding the corner and descending down. I could not imagine doing this hike in the middle of the day with the sun just beating down on you. That would just be brutal. I mean, right now, there's still shady spots. It's actually cool in the shade. That saves some energy. I have a feeling once we get up to this ridge and look over the other side, it's going to be stunning. Well, we're at the top of that ridge, looking over. It just keeps getting better. And then over on the left over here, you have these just towering peaks. I think we skirt this whole ridge. Absolutely stunning. Sure would suck to trip and fall out to the right, because you ain't stopping. Oh boy. There was one spot right back here where I got a little vertigo. So you're right up against a cliff face on one side and then just a sheer drop off on another. I've gotten vertigo a couple times before. It's not fun, especially when there's really no relief from it in the moment. But the trail looks a little bit better now, a little wider. Coming up on our first refugio. I know I'm butchering how you say that. But might grab some food here. Well, this is the most amazing spot for a cappuccino. Cheers. So we are 2.4 miles in, hour 20, 1,600 feet of elevation gain so far. It's so cool up here. I mean, they have these refugios all over these mountains. You see a lot of hikers, backpackers going from refugio to refugio for days on end and staying up in the mountains versus going back down to town. Gonna finish this little snack, then hit the trail again. There's one look back at the refugio. So I was doing some reading. We have some information signs out there. A lot of the stuff around here, including this spot, dates back to World War I. And they actually built this cable system all the way back in World War I, which is pretty crazy. So there's a lot of history here, which is super cool. Anyways, we gotta get hiking. We've got a big push in front of us, and the sun's coming out. So we are somehow getting up this cliff face, and we're going all the way out to the point over here. This is a bit more technical than I was anticipating, but we'll see. Well, we got up that cliff face, and now it's just kind of choose your own adventure, scrambling up this sheer rock outcrop. Yeah, that sun's starting to get warm. Sorry for my heavy breathing. This altitude and this climb is getting me. We're down right between these two mountains. Climbing up. I mean, I'm out of words. So Cortina is right down there. And then we are headed up to the highest point on this hike. And there's another refugio up there. The views up there are going to be outstanding. Let's get it. Final push. We made it. I am in utter shock right now. Never before have I seen views like this. Unreal. This was worth every minute of my 21-hour trip to get over here. Well, we made it. Top refugio of this hike. So to celebrate, a bit of champagne. These views are just straight out of a magazine. Cortina down there in the valley. I've been to Glacier, I've been to Banff, I've been to the Sawtooths. Those are great and stunning in their own right. They don't even compare to this. All right, one last look from the top before we start our hike down. Most of the rest of this should be downhill. Got quite a few hikers coming up in the late morning sun. Glad I made it up earlier. Got the sunshade hoodie on so I don't get burnt. Let's do this. So we come down off this rock face, come around. I think we go around Cinque Torri. Sorry, I'm butchering all these Italian names. But there's another refugio down here. And then from there we wrap around, go all the way back down to the car. I meant to have this hike done in 4 hours. It's 3 hours and I'm not even halfway through it. Just been stopping at these refugios and enjoying the sights. So now we gotta put our foot down a little bit. So they have kind of trail markers. You see these little red spots. That signifies your trail. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I got up early when I did. And basically from the first refugio to the second one at the top, that was the only part that was in sun, but it was still pretty cool out. I passed a few people coming up and they are struggling in the heat and the sun. So good call to start early. So we're headed up to Cinque Torri. I heard someone else say it, and that sounds a lot better than my pronunciation of it. But if you take a peek back, we were way up there and we've already dropped. It's amazing. A lot of elevation, and you can see the dots of people slowly working their way up. Could not imagine doing that in the heat. Cinque Torri. So I've started to see big groups of people that do not look like hikers, and I found out what's going on. There's a chairlift right there. So that takes them all the way up from the bottom to right here. Cheaters. It's all good. All right, so we just left the third refugio. I don't know how you say it. Got Cinque Torri, Cinque Torri on our right. Just absolutely stunning. So right in the hillside here from World War I, where they used to store all their equipment. And then over here, we've got like an artillery station. Artillery station. So up there is that artillery station, and this is what they looked out over. Here's another artillery, probably a observation post. That had to be pretty crazy. World War I. Just sitting here waiting. Backside of Cinque Torri. So here's a better look at the progress we've made. So Refugio 1 up there. No, that was 2. 1 is right there. And then 3 right there. Look at that rock face just jutting out. That's wild. Well, I am well behind where I wanted to be. I wanted to be done by about 11:30. 4 hours, start at 7:30. It is now 12:43, and I have another 3 or 4 miles to go. But couldn't pass up just stopping at those refugios and grabbing a drink and some food and just enjoying the view. Most of the rest of this is downhill now. The last, I think, half mile is a gradual uphill climb. Should be good. I believe that is the 4th refugio, but we are going to skip it and get down to the car. We've done 2,500 feet of elevation gain, which is probably the most I've ever done in a day. I will say something that has struck me, especially hiking here, but generally anywhere, is in the cities, in Italy, in the US, wherever, you tend to run across people that are a little rude, short with you, whatever. But up here in the mountains, I swear everyone is in a good mood. And how can you not be with what you're surrounded by? But it, again, feels great to get away from the crowded cities and just get up into the mountains. This is where I belong. The other nice thing about hiking here is I do not have to worry about bears, which is a pretty much constant threat in Washington, Idaho, Montana. It's nice to hike stress-free and not have to worry about that. Tell you what, the last mile and a half this hike is brutal. Just a gradual grade uphill and mostly in the sun. It is always a relief when you can see the trailhead and your car. So I just wrapped up that hike. That was incredible. Highly would recommend it if you're in the area. That hike alone makes Italy worth it for me. Everywhere you looked, it was incredible. So I'm excited to get this video put together, go through all the pictures I took on my phone, and get that out there. Until next time.